The Wager Talk and Sports Memo November Thank You Special is a deal you guys cannot pass up. Get every college football and NFL play in the month of November for just $1.99. That includes 5 NFL Sundays and 4 college football Saturdays. Sign up now and you get the rest of October for free. That means 5 full weekends of football for under $40 per weekend, 5 weekends for less than the price of a 5% play per week. Just go to your favorite Wager Talk or Sports Memo Cappers homepage to lock in this offer before the games kick off this weekend.
Here we go, boys. I'm the Prez, Teddy Covers. Welcome to WagerTalk.com. Teddy, we're both wearing what my kid would call a grout fit. How are you today, bro?
What's the name of the show?
Wager Talk Today. I don't know, man. Did I screw it up again?
Yeah.
Well, that would have been
good morning.
That would have been the first.
Good morning,
time.
Lawrence.
That would have been the first screw up on the name of a show I named. Teddy, lead story today. Election still going on, man. I just rode the Peloton, watched a bit of Fox News, jump back and forth. Oh, man, the drama just continues to unfold. And from a betting perspective, no different.
Well, actually, there's no drama in the betting markets right now. The reason that we're bringing up the U.S. election at the top of the show the last couple of days, it's because it's a huge betting story. It's nothing to do with politics. This was the single biggest known global betting event in history. One book alone took, I think it was 600 million.
Really?
Okay, one book on the election. So we're talking about a huge handle, all right? Bigger than any World Cup event, bigger than anything, okay? Bigger than any Super Bowl. So when you have this type of a handle on a betting event and the line swings from one guy as big favorite to the other guy as big favorite, back to the one guy as big favorite again, it's huge news. Right now, you can still make bets on it. I'm seeing Biden in the minus 900, minus 1,000 range. There was a minus 700s last night. Those are gone. But at least one book, Prez, Australian book, but they paid out 16 million. They're paying out Biden bets, which tells us the drama is over, even though they haven't yet called the election.
Oh, my friend, the drama has just begun. A big show today. Dave Coken, right off the top, 3 college football games. Gianni the Greek at the bottom of the hour, 3 NFL games. Before we bring Dave Coken and Teddy, you've been talking Macaction, whatever you call it, Macation.
There you go.
It took me 3 times to get there. Check out what went down at WagerTalk.com last night. No joke. Maction, baby. Gianni, 3-0. Rob Vino, 3-1. Brian, Steve Merrill, winner. Oskheim Sports, winner. Marco D'Angelo, winner. Lots more. Coken, he lost. You lost one play. Tony M1. It was a spectacular day for most of the handicappers at WagerTalk.com. Let's bring in Dave Coken. Let's get the show on the road. Hello, Mr. Coken. You look great in black. What's going on, my friend? How are you?
Okay. Started the day off right. I had another KBO winner. Money line and runs line in the Doosan game. So 4-0 to start the playoffs down there. I did lose in the MAC last night, and it was kind of funny, not the loss, but I got a bit upset with the quarterback for Ball State when he threw one of the worst passes in the history of football with the game tied in the final minute, and that was the end of the game. So I tweeted something snide about it, and Adam Hill, who writes for the Las Vegas Review-Journal, on Twitter on a regular basis, happened to tweet that leave it to Coken or something along the lines of leave it to Coken. Well, the entire Twitterverse is talking about the election. He's talking about some random MAC football game. Yeah, that's kind of where my mind is. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a frustrating loss with Ball State last night. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the show when it comes to bad beats, bad bets, and bad for the books. But let's talk some games. What are we going to do, Prez? What do we got first?
We got a child freaking out. Supposedly my Wi-Fi is down, and she's literally in the middle of picking her courses for next semester at school. Yeah, and she's going to miss the courses she wants, even though my Wi-Fi can't be out because I'm talking to you. So I don't know what the hell to do. Anyway, let's go. Michigan State +7 versus Iowa, 46 total. Dave, how do we bet this game?
Iowa is becoming here's the thing on Iowa, and I said this, I think, before the season started right here on WagerTalk Today. I believe we were talking about an Iowa game. I know I talked about this game. That the team, I didn't like the potential mindset coming into the season for Iowa because they had, look, there's just no way to sugarcoat it. They had a really bad off season. And I still believe there are a lot of people, I know there are a lot of people as far as outside the program, but connected with the program who want Kirk Ferentz out of there. And I have doubts as to whether the team is completely bought into him being there. That said, they've got a lot of talent on this team. The new quarterback has a lot of talent. Iowa should be a good football team. Iowa should be a considerably better football team than Michigan State. Nice win for the Spartans last week. No question about that. But this is still a team that I don't think is particularly strong. So on paper, it's one of those games where you look at it and say, this is certainly a spot where an 0-2 Iowa team has a real good chance to get healthy against Michigan State. But I got to tell you, I don't trust them at all. And I don't think the two losses in games that were completely winnable, I don't think that's a good thing. To me, Iowa looks vulnerable here. And even though I think Michigan State is, I don't think Michigan State's as good as Iowa, and it's not like we're getting a ton of points. But I would side with Michigan State in this game.
Let me ask you this, because last week the Spartans pulled off a major upset in Ann Arbor against their rival Wolverines. So it's a potential letdown in theory. I'm sure the market's going to look at that and say that from a spot standpoint, that's why Iowa's got to be the chalk, and as big chalk as they are. But my question is basically, Michigan State good last week or Michigan bad? What was your takeaway from the Spartans' upset over the Wolverines?
Both. I thought Michigan was really bad, but Spartans did play well. But you're right; it's not a good spot for Michigan State, and that's the reason the game's not on my card. Because I got to tell you, I am going to be looking for spots to fade this Iowa team. I think this could get away from them, even though they have, I don't know, on paper, maybe the third or fourth best team in the conference. I mean, Ohio State's obviously a whole lot better. Penn State's better. Wisconsin's better. After that, Iowa's right in that mix in terms of on paper. I might be leaving someone out, but I think they're right at that next, maybe at the top of that next group, but there's something isn't right there. Now, it could all straighten out if they get a nice win here. But if they lose this game, it could unravel in a hurry. You could be looking at a team that just says, screw this. We're going to get a new coach at the end of the year, and we'll start all over again. Because I think Ferentz is on really thin ice at this point. These losses are not helping him. That's a game they should have won last week. I mean, they were in control of that football game and let it get away. That's the sign of a team that, to me, is having some mental issues. Let's put it that way.
Dave Coken with us, everybody. Dave, before we get into the Arizona State USC game, shout out to your golf, bro. I think you're on a 14-4 run. We had a listener yesterday ask how they can get your daily golf packages. They're all access clients, right?
Yeah, because first of all, I don't grade them high enough to be sold individually. We don't sell anything that's not a 3% or better individually at WagerTalk. And for instance, this week I played 5 matchups. They're all full tournament matchups. But I played each one for 2%. So that's 10% of action out there. That's a lot. But I don't want to sell them individually. only as a group, and I'm not risking enough in terms of their strength for them to qualify as individually sold plays. So they're only for packages. Now I'll probably do something for the Masters. I'll probably won't have 5 matchups. I might have only 2 or 3. But next week's Masters, I'll probably grade them higher, and that's really a tournament I'm looking forward to very much. But there is something that is for sale at WagerTalk that I think we might want to talk about.
Go ahead.
Well, I was looking for the big build-up here.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why that's why you've got all those notes in front of you there.
Yeah, I have no notes in front of you, and I gave you a drum roll, so go.
Okay. All right. The college football 5% plays are 8-0 going back to last October. The 77.3% is on all 5% plays in all sports over the last 13 months. I'm 5-0 on 5% plays this football season, 3 in college, 2 in the NFL. And I've got one on Saturday that I posted last night, and it's available now at WagerTalk.com, and I fully expect it to win.
Dave,
That's it.
I have these notes in front of me, but it's always better coming from you, man. I'm permanent.
I like the way you do it, because you just go. I'm very matter of fact with this stuff, and
Okay.
you basically have an orgasm when you're promoting these, which is, probably fun for you and exciting for the audience.
Well, you know what? Orgasm coming at the end of this segment. Arizona State plus 10.5 versus USC. How do we take this game apart?
We go through this every year with USC. Every single year with USC. It's going to be a great year for the Trojans. They're loaded. And then they go out there and they fall on their face and get themselves. And this team is loaded. I mean, it's a really good football team on paper that could run the table in the Pac-12, especially with this shortened season. But I got to tell you, I don't trust them at all. I don't trust them. They always get overhyped. Out here, I can't say what it's like in the rest of the country, because the Pac-12 doesn't get as much attention in the rest of the country as it does in these parts. But in these parts, and Teddy, I think, will attest to this, every year, in September, this is the year for USC. It's a breakthrough season. Trojans might be good enough to make the playoffs, etc. And then within 3 weeks, it's like they're playing for maybe a piece of the Pac-12, and that's about it. Arizona State, I like what's being done down there by this coaching staff. I don't think it can match up in terms of personnel with USC, but they've got a solid defense, and they're getting enough points here to make it interesting to me. I think USC will move the ball, but I don't think they'll move it at will on this Arizona State team, and I think the Sun Devils might have enough to keep this one interesting. And the intangible, it's a big early season game for USC, and they just have been not very good in these over the past several seasons now.
So we've seen a little bit of money for USC. 10.5s, 11s, 11.5s. Are we going to see more? Is this one of those deals where the hype on the Trojans is great enough to expect significant money coming their way? Or is this one of these deals, if you like Arizona State, grab it now because this number's only going to go down?
I think the number, it's a tough read, but I think there'd be just mathematical resistance from the numbers guys if it bumps any higher. So I think it's probably ceilinged where it is. I mean, I can't say for sure, especially early in the season. Sometimes you don't get a good read on where the money's going to show. But just looking at what I believe are most power ratings on this game, I think it's reached a point where you get buyback. If there's more USC money that shows, you'll get buyback to balance it on Arizona State.
And just a real quick follow-up, Dave. Does the 9 a.m. Pacific time start mean anything to you? Because this is Pac-12 before brunch, as opposed to Pac-12 after dark. Do you think that very early start time here on the left coast has any influence on this game?
Well, I mean, it could, but I don't know. I don't know who it would favor, because I don't know. Honestly, I don't ever recall a 9 a.m. Pac-12 conference game. This might be a first. I don't. I've never seen it before. So I have no idea who that favors. They don't turn the clocks back in Arizona. Does that have anything to do with it? I don't know. By the way, I wish we would adapt. I wish we would adapt the Arizona daylight savings time rule here in Nevada. I would love to not turn the clocks back so it doesn't get dark at 4:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah, I didn't even know that at all. Guys, let's keep the show moving along. Stanford, Oregon. Stanford, double-digit dog, 51 total. Dave, which side should we bet?
Let's see how good Oregon is. I think they might be really good. There's a lot of speed on this team. These are the types of games that Stanford's been really competitive in. Now, David Shaw's, he's a good coach. Okay, I know he drives people nuts with how conservative he gets, and that can make Stanford a very big risk as a favorite. But I think Stanford's got to be better than they were a year ago when they had just an inordinate number of injuries. Must be something in the air up there because whatever it is, the 49ers have caught it this year in the NFL. This, to me, it's one of those games where Stanford might be good enough to hang around, but boy, Oregon's team speed is lethal. And I think Oregon's going to be the team to beat in this conference. I think they're well coached, and they are not a team that falls on their face in terms of living up to the hype. I lean Oregon in the game. Not really. I don't really want to lay double digits, so it's not going to be on my card. But I can see this one. I can see Oregon getting away from Stanford in this game and winning it by a couple of touchdowns, maybe even 17.
Yeah. Dave Coken, everybody. Dave's with us every Thursday, 12 to 1 Eastern. He's the first guest up. And guys, why do you watch this show? Why do you bet on sports? To make money. Dave Coken has a 5% play this weekend. Oh my God. I mean, there's no way you can miss this play. Literally, if you miss this play, ask yourself, what am I doing? Why am I here? What is the meaning of life? 8-0 in college football, 5% plays in 12 freaking months. 77.3% in his last 13 months across the board. Forget Teddy, forget me, Marco, Gianni, forget them all. One play this week, it's Dave Coken's 5%. Make sure to get down on it. Dave, speaking about getting down, I felt a little orgasm there.
Who was that chick that danced across the screen for a moment?
She helped with the orgasm.
She looked like a 5%er.
Yeah, baby. Okay, boys, quick break. Tons of stuff still coming up. Teddy's bad beat stories, Gianni, Ralph Michaels, and of course, Teddy's world famous must-watch big game breakdown.
No baseball, basketball, or hockey to get you through until the football weekend? Don't worry, we have you covered over at WagerTalk and SportsMo with our soccer handicappers. Get the rest of 2020 from your favorite soccer expert with an all-access soccer package for just $249. This is normally priced at $399, but right now it's discounted $150 off, and it includes any 5% plays normally priced at $40. Just head over to WagerTalk and SportsMemo.com to take advantage of this deal to lock in one of your soccer experts through the end of the year.
It is time for Bad Beats, Bad Bets, and Bad for the Books. A little recap of the betting action from last night here in Las Vegas. Look, I like SVP. Scott Van Pelt is a genuinely good guy. Stanford Steve, I don't know, but I'm sure he's fine. They do it their way. I do it my way. Let's start with Bad Beats. Kent State, oh my goodness. They were -7 at the open, bet down to -4.5 against Eastern Michigan, maybe -5. 2nd and 2 from the 4 in the first half. Oh, they throw a pick. On 2nd and 2, you can't do that. Final drive. They get the ball in Eastern Michigan territory off an interception. Then they convert multiple third downs when they could have kicked the field goal to go up by 7. 3 first downs, and then, of course, it gets to 1st and goal. They take a knee end up winning by 4. That was tough if you had the Golden Flashes last night against the Eagles. Then, of course, there was Ball State. This was the one I got to enjoy. Not. First, so look, I'm not saying they were the right side. I'm not saying the wrong side. I'm saying they're down 3 with a minute and a half left, and they throw a touchdown pass that the defender makes an incredible play and knocks it out at the last second. So instead, they take a field goal, who missed 2 earlier, including a 34-yarder. He nails it. So the game's tied. Then they force a punt. They call a timeout to get the ball back. They have a veteran quarterback against a tired defense. They have a timeout left, and now they have a confident kicker. The very first pass, the one that Dave Coken was referencing just a moment ago, receiver open in space. He's trying to loft it to him. Instead, he lofts it right to the linebacker. Linebacker taps it to himself, runs it back inside the 10. Boom. Ball game over. And then Miami doesn't even set up a field goal, punches in the touchdown. This line, there were 3s out there, +3s. There were +3.5s, even a couple of them at the open. It closed for many at ball +1, but that late touchdown for Miami ensured that even if you got the best of the number, you didn't cash a ticket with the Ball State Cardinals. That, too, a pretty tough beat for last night. Bad for the books, I'll tell you what. There were 3 blowouts. The books lost all 3. Buffalo took heavy money and covered. Western Michigan took heavy money and covered. Toledo took heavy money and covered. Akron and BG still stink, and the markets were on that. Northern Illinois is so young. And, of course, there was tons of over money in the Buffalo-Northern Illinois game. That cashed, too. So the blowout's not good for the house last night by any stretch of the imagination. All that said, the books did make some back. Central Michigan got bet up from pick to +3 against Ohio. McElwain took the field goal. I couldn't believe he took the field goal in that game, but it paid off. The defense forced not 1, not 2, but 3 stops in the back half of the fourth quarter after he took the field goal. Bottom line, Central Michigan gets the money. Tons of wise guy support for Ohio and public support as well. So that was a good result for the house. But the total landed in the middle. It opened 59 or higher. Under money poured in on game day. We talked about that yesterday in Big Game Breakdown. Closed 54.5, landed 57, right in the middle. There you have it. Bad beats, bad bets, bad for the books. Back to you, Prez.
Thank you, Teddy Covers. Oh, my God, there he is, Gianni. How are you, my friend? Excellent.
God bless America.
God bless America. Absolutely. Not Canada, just America. Do not
That's
bless
it.
the world, God. Only America. Want to welcome everybody into the Steve Freeman. Nice to have you on your name before. Johnny Outlaw, Nathan Cerna, Nate, David Tabati, the Faded One, Jimmy Stain, Elliot, James McGinnis, Birdie, and so many of you guys. Hit that like button, please. We need it for our YouTube rankings. We ask you every day. It's really important to us. Gianni, you look good, man. The V-neck looks great. I love having you on the show. NFL today, but first we got to start with this, dude. I put you on the spot last week. I made you give us a play. Every time you come on, you give us a play, at like one play where you like insist, and it does win. In order to have credibility, the one last week lost, Baylor. Just a rough first quarter and really couldn't recover. But I'm going to do it again, dude. We got to keep it going because you're allowed to win. You're allowed to lose 1 out of like 5 times that you have done this. Anyway, man, awesome night last night for you. Just outstanding work. College football, NFL. You're absolutely in the zone.
Yeah, right now I had a tough, I tell it like it is, man. I got up so far ahead for the year that going into like August, I was up 250, 300% for the year. And then I had a terrible 6 weeks where I dumped probably half of our profit. And it happens. I mean, there's that variance, especially for a volume guy like myself. It's going to happen. Luckily, it got out of the way, and we still had 3 months to this year to pile on more profit. So it's a good time, and I think I got the worst out of it. And that's why the last couple of weeks, we've just been grinding and adding profit, man. Even the bad days are like 3 and 2. So hopefully I keep it going. But like I said, I fire bets and move on. I think I have 20 plus bets pending over the next couple days. And it's funny, a guy was actually telling me, you're talking shit. There's no way you don't watch the games you bet. It would be impossible for me to watch the games I bet. I wouldn't even be able to do anything else. I would just be watching games all day or fights, and I just don't have that time. So I got a lot of stuff, a lot of bets to share. Hopefully it helps guys watching either follow, fade, ignore, help you make some money, save some money. That's the goal. Let's dive right in. Tell me what you want. You want college, NFL, UFC?
No, let's go straight to NFL, dude. Let's go straight to NFL. And, obviously, Tua is getting a lot of play going in, playing Kyler Murray this Sunday. The Dolphins are plus 4.5 with a few fours here and there. There's clearly money coming in on the Dolphins right now. Are you part of that?
Yeah, I took 5 on Miami right away, and I was rewarded when one of the groups I provide accounts for also came in and took the Miami side at plus 5, and that validated my lean there because I just thought this. It's not a bet against Arizona. It's a bet on the Miami Dolphins. And I think because the AFC is so much better than the NFC, there are certain teams that get overlooked. Now, Miami's not an elite team in the AFC, but they're above mediocre. And I don't think they even get that respect. And I would even say they're a few steps away from being at the top, at least halfway through the season. There's only 5 or 6 teams in all of the AFC that have a positive point differential. It's Baltimore, it's Pittsburgh, it's Indianapolis, it's Kansas City. Oh, and it's the Miami Dolphins at 4-3. With a better point differential than Buffalo. Now, I get it. You could blow a team out one game. That could be swayed. I understand all that. But that's not the case with Miami. This team actually is for real. They're a top 10 defense, top 5 special teams. And as long as that offense gets into that top 15 where they're not there yet, this team can compete. Give me the 5 points, especially since Tua didn't light it up last week. If he went out there and scored 4 touchdowns, I'd say, here comes the overvalued. Got to be careful. But the fact he didn't have to go out there and win the game, that it was done with defense, it was done with special teams, and that we're still wondering, is he NFL ready? That gives us value in these Dolphins. Again, I love what I see out of Arizona. They've taken that next step forward. It's not a fade on them. It's a bet on the Dolphins.
So we have multiple COVID outbreaks around the NFL this week. Arizona, one of the teams affected. Is the money coming against the Cardinals here? Does that have to do with the fact that they've had a COVID outbreak in the locker room and had to close down facilities? Or is this the markets or the syndicates that you're working with are really starting to like this Dolphins team?
I'd be lying to you and everyone watching if I told you I know for certainty. The guys that bet these games into the accounts I provide don't tell me why I'm betting them. Now, I have good relationships, and I'm friends with a couple guys. We go to dinner, hang out, we talk sports, so I pick up how they think and what they look at. I would say it's a combination of both. I don't think it's just one factor related, meaning I've worked with these betting syndicates where we've made a move based on a piece of information, but that's only because it hasn't been factored into the betting line yet. And a perfect example was last week with Clemson Boston College, where I couldn't even release that to my subscribers because I didn't even know the situation. All I know is that at 12 noon, I even took a picture of the time and sent it because I do a show in Alabama. And I sent the guy was asking me what I would make it with or without Trevor Lawrence. I didn't even know why he was asking me this when he texted me. And then he said, when did you guys bet it? And I sent him a picture of one of the accounts I bet into. And he goes, oh my God, that was 4 or 5 hours before the news came out. I go, yeah, I guess these guys had it. Now, I couldn't even share that info because the line then moved so significantly, I didn't know if the value was gone. I wasn't going to take plus 30 and give it out to my subscribers at plus 25 just because sharp guys bet it. That's foolish. But it just goes to tell you, if they get information that's not factored into the price, they will pounce. But like you touched on with Arizona and with San Francisco and with all these teams, once that info's out there and factored into the price, I don't think that's the reason they're betting on or against. After that, it becomes too late, and it's us, the rest of the market, that tries to find an edge one way or the other. Those guys are usually moved on to the next thing once the info is spread out like that.
Gianni the Greek with us. You can find him at WagerTalk.com. Gianni, 2 more games, and this Baltimore Indy game is sexy. And Indy looked amazing last week. Phillip Rivers threw the ball really well, was able to stretch the field, which we haven't seen in a while. And Baltimore coming off of a tough loss against Pittsburgh, and now on the road. There's obviously money coming in on Indy. To move a line from 3 down to 2.5 is pretty significant. I'm guessing you're one of those guys again. Indy all the way, right?
My subscribers got Indianapolis plus 3.5, I think, while the Sunday night football game was going on, probably. We bet them immediately. And I love that Indianapolis side. I thought that was the right side. Listen, if you watched this show last week, then I hope you made a good bet. And that was the Pittsburgh Steelers, where not only did I like Pittsburgh last week, but I said, let's go a step further. Let's take them to win the Super Bowl at still 10-1. Those same 10-1 odds they were last year when last year's Super Bowl concluded. And we were able to get that same 10-1 last week with a 6-0 football team. So it was a great bet. Now Steelers are 5-1. So win or lose, we placed a good bet, and that's the goal. Indianapolis plus 3.5. Great bet, especially when it's sitting at 2.5 right now. Win or lose, my job's done. But for you guys watching, that doesn't do you any good. Is there still value on the Colts? I say absolutely. Here's why. I think they win this game outright. We saw that Baltimore is not ready for that next step. They're not beating Kansas City. They're not even beating the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I know all the talk about Harbaugh after a loss and all that nonsense. That's baked into the cake. When you're seeing it on SportsCenter, when that's the first thing out of the host's mouth about how good Harbaugh is off a loss or off a bye or something along those lines, rest assured, do not use that as one of your reasons to bet. You're not getting any value there. And the bottom line is, with this Indianapolis team, they fall under the same category as Miami. We talk about Kansas City. We talk about Baltimore. We talk about the teams we've known over the last couple of years are competing. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Indy sneaking up on anyone, and no one's even looking. This team's got a top 3 defense, DVOA, top 5 special teams, and the offense continues to take strides with Phillip Rivers. I love the Colts in this spot. I think Baltimore's shown they've got exploited. There's more tape. Now, a year later, we have more defenses are having an easier time against that Baltimore offense. No reason to keep going. I think at 2.5, there's still some value there. 3.5 was a great bet, obviously. 3 is a good bet, but I still think there's a little bit of money for you to make on the Colts still.
So I want to ask you, Gianni, are you worried at all about the strength of schedule differential for these two teams? You talked about the struggles that Baltimore's had stepping up in class,
Great point.
But they've played step up in class games. By my numbers, Indy has played the single weakest schedule in the NFL so far, and their 2 step up games have come against the Bears and the Browns, neither of whom can be considered elite competition at this stage of the season. Does that worry you at all in your support of Indy?
Great point. What I will say is they outperformed the market on those games, meaning against Detroit, they covered by almost 17 points. Against the Jets, they covered by almost 17 points. Against Minnesota, they covered by almost 2 touchdowns. So they annihilated those teams they were supposed to. When they stepped up against Cleveland, they didn't get it done. I get it. But you can only play who's in front of you. And the fact they beat these teams is impressive. Again, I give a pass on that week 1 to Jacksonville. We know who Jacksonville is now. First week of the season, whatever. I think the Cleveland loss is the only one where you got to give it. They didn't beat a team like Cleveland that Baltimore obviously is a lot better than. And that was on the road. This one's at home. No real home field advantage. It worries me a little bit, Teddy. But again, you can only play who's in front of you. And they have been outperforming the betting market, at least, when they've played those mediocre and worse teams. So for me, we'll see as they get tested just how legit they are. But we have seen when Baltimore got tested against the elite, they're definitely not ready. It's different. You are playing a tougher schedule, but you're losing those games. You're beating the Washingtons. You're beating the Cincinnatis, but you're not beating the Pittsburghs. You're not beating the Kansas Cities. So you could say the same about both, that when it was time to step up, just that for Baltimore, it was a bigger step up in class, where for Indianapolis, if they face Pittsburgh and Kansas City, would they lose by worse margins? Maybe.
Gianni, we got to keep the show moving, but I just want to say, I'm not with you on this play. I feel like everything you're saying about Baltimore is right. They are struggling to win when they step up in class. They just happen to be stepping down in class this Sunday. Tampa Bay, New Orleans, bro. We're done. You have said your stuff. I have written it all down. I love you. I tattooed it to my shoulder. There you go. Tampa Bay, New Orleans. What a game. Oh, my God. This one is exciting. I know you like the total here. Quickly tell us how to bet this game.
I bet the under as soon as this line came out, under 53. I released it to subscribers at under 52. I think there's value there for sure. Usually I'd stay away from it only because you have two great defenses, and that it tends to be the perfect storm for an over because the line's usually shaded towards the bias of good defenses, and good defenses tend to produce short fields, tend to produce turnovers, and tend to turn into points. And a lot of times I'll bet good defenses over, but fortunately we have good offenses coupled here. And the perception with these teams is obviously offensive juggernauts, even though the analytics show they're a defensive team of late. So I think that's where we get a little value, coupled with, of course, it's a primetime game. The totals are now higher than they were the first couple weeks of the season. We'll see more unders. But I'm also I haven't bet it yet, but I'm considering releasing it today. I also like the New Orleans Saints side. Listen, I don't like the fact that they should be better than they are based on what they have and on paper. I don't like what's transpired, but I still think we haven't seen the best of the Saints yet. So for me in that game, I like the points. It seems a little square. That's the only thing that scares me. So I haven't touched the side yet, but I did bet the under. So that's pretty much
Gianni,
it.
Sorry, brother. I am with you on the Saints. They're on my short list, and I don't feel square with that play, man. I listen to a lot of people. I read everybody's thoughts in the chat, and a lot of guys like Tampa Bay. So, and also it's okay to be, it's hip to be square. I think Huey Lewis said that.
Sometimes.
Yeah. And I think just the mention of Huey Lewis probably ages all three of us. Boys, that was awesome. Gianni, we love having you on the show again. A huge congratulations for your run. 5-1 day yesterday, continuing to dominate in MMA. 3-0 in college football. You did it again on Monday night. A 12-4, 11-4 NFL football run. One of those, 33-13, something like that. Just absolutely outstanding stuff. As you already said, you got about 700 plays up over the next 3 days, correct?
Yep, probably 20 plus are sitting in there just waiting for you to slap your bookie with.
Yeah, okay. We'll just slap our bookie with all 20 of your plays. And guys, I just want to make a quick mention. And Gianni, they've been talking about this in the chat room a lot.
Yeah, ask them what they want. What do they want? I'll give it to them before I go. What do you want? College, pro,
well, no.
MMA, more
Gianni,
plays? What is
breathe. Breathe, Gianni. I've never met a man with more energy than me. Anyway, here's what they're saying. They're saying Gianni releases so many plays. How can you bet 20 plays in 1 day? And I want to just make a quick reference to that statement.
What's square?
Gianni, let me speak quickly. One of the things that I talked about with amateur bettors, I had a friend over last night, Alan, and he's like, oh, I go to my bookie every Monday and I either collect or pay. Guys, professional bettors don't see betting by clock. There is no such thing as 20 bets in a day, 80 bets in a week. There's no 24-hour period. We bet. We are so not focused on nonsense like how many plays in a day or how many plays in a week or how many plays in a month. The calendar does not come into play. Gianni?
Dude, listen, I'm not a pick seller. That's why I don't come on here and brag about going 5-2 over the last 7 Monday nights, because that doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that I've turned a profit 2015, 16, 17, 18, and 19, and I'm up in 2020. And I joined with WagerTalk in 2018, and I turned a profit there 2018, 2019, and I'm up in 2020. So obviously what I'm doing works. That volume works. Now, for you and everyone's bankroll, that may not work. You may not be able to survive the variance. So here's what you do. This is what you do. People ask me all the time, listen, please give me a minute, because people ask me all the time, how do you do it? And I say this. I found sources that win, I get their information, and I handicap that. If I have 20, now the groups I work with, they bet 40, 60 games in a weekend with first halves, second halves, sides, totals. I don't bet all of those, but I know they're plus EV. I know they win long term. So I take those 30, 40 positions and I handicap those and decide which I like the most. That's what I tell people to do with my subscription. I'm going to fire 5, 8. It depends where I see value. There may be 10 plays one Sunday. There may be 2 next Sunday. For you, handicap those plays and narrow the ones you like. How it's not rocket science. The only difference is going to be that your long term is going to take longer. That's it. The edge is the same. I'm betting 3%, 4%, 5%. Those bets are based on the edge I have, my perceived edge. The only difference for you is going to be it'll take longer for the long term, where with volume guys, it takes less time. That's it. I don't understand
Gianni, Gianni,
it makes no sense to me. You should want to bet 100 games a day. You should want to
if you've
find
got an edge,
value on
you've got an
100.
edge. Gianni, I got to cut you off.
it.
We got Ralph Michaels coming up. Teddy's going to talk about the Thursday night football game. Well said. Well done. We couldn't love you more. Now go and breathe and relax. We'll take a quick break.
Look for games of the
and
year,
Teddy
baby.
covers up.
Look for games of the year.
This Saturday, Marco D'Angelo is offering his Pigskin and Ponies package, where you will get Marco's college football selections along with select Breeders' Cup races on Saturday from Keeneland Racecourse in Lexington, Kentucky. It's the biggest day in horse racing, and Marco doesn't just bet on horses, as he owns, breeds, and has raced horses since 1986. Last Saturday, Marco's college football plays went 4-2, highlighted by his 5% college game of the month on Auburn +2, a 48-11 winner. Get this special package for just $39. Go to Marco's homepage at WagerTalk.com now to purchase this package.
It's big game breakdown time for Thursday night football. NFL action this evening. And this has been a game that's basically been bet only one way. The Packers have taken all the money against the 49ers. 7.5 now, the prevailing number. Total sitting in the 48.5 range. Let's talk about why the Packers have taken all the money against the 49ers. So far this season, San Francisco has been without their starting quarterback at some point, their top 4 running backs, 5 of their top 6 receiver. Oh, by the way, the 6th receiver is Kendrick Bourne, who just tested positive for COVID-19 and won't play tonight. their top 2 tight ends, their top 2 centers, 5 members of the 8-man rotation on the defensive line, including both of their star edge rushers, 2 of their starting linebackers, and their top 4 cornerbacks and both of their starting safeties. That's insane, okay? There is no team in the NFL, and I went through and looked at the number of players. There's a great, Ralph Michaels put together a great sheet talking about injuries and who suffered the most injuries this year. It's San Fran, even more than Philly, in terms of the number of players they've had to play. And it's not just the starters who've gotten hurt. The guys they've signed to replace the starters. They brought in Tavon Austin. They brought in J.J. Nelson. They brought in Ziggy Ansah. They all got hurt too. This isn't, the quote from Bill Barnwell. They're not just banged up. They're unrecognizable. And there's truth to that. Nick Mullins came in last week, 18 to 25 with 2 touchdowns after Jimmy G got hurt. He's expected to be the starter here. But that came against a prevent defense. And oh, by the way, they just put 4 additional players on the reserve COVID-19 list yesterday, all 4 of them out for tonight. So you can fully understand, including that includes left tackle Trent Williams. So you can understand why the money's coming to the Packers. Then you throw in the fact the Packers are 4-0 against the spread off a loss under LaFleur and winning those games by more than 10 points per game against the spread. Considering the fact that Green Bay, they just have revenge. In the NBA, a team has a bunch of injuries. The opposing team, it happens all the time. They come out, they look flat. Yeah, whatever. Green Bay's not coming out flat off a loss with double revenge off a pair of embarrassing losses against San Fran last year. They're not taking this game lightly. They're not taking this team lightly. I don't like road teams on Thursday night football a whole lot, but I don't want the 49ers tonight. It's Packers or pass for this better, even at the current number. Back to you, Prez.
Great stuff, Teddy. And I agree with you on that. Packers are pass for me too, and I chose pass. Guys, can't thank you all enough for being in this with us. Kenneth, I haven't seen your name. Nice having you. Brendan G, you as well. Guys, 95 likes. Let's get it up to 120 before we go. 400 of you guys are watching. Ralph Michaels joining us now with his pen. This guy, man, just Ralph, you are pure gold, baby. The standard. Hey
Teddy.
What do you got?
Teddy, I have that chart today, so we're going to go over it for Wager Talk. Did you know?
Beautiful.
Prez, we sometimes come on and we pick on you. Your statement about the time and the number of bets in a period of time was one of the best statements I've heard you made. It doesn't matter if there's 10 plays in a day or there's 0 plays in a day. Stick to where there's value. Bet those when the value come up. So a great statement, Prez. Thank you.
Sure. Let me jump in there real quick, Ralph, because I think it's important to note. We have to recognize that the recreational player doesn't have the time or the bankroll that the pro has. And we're all pros. And when a recreational bettor gets 20 bets and says, all right, you got it's confusing sometimes. So I thought Gianni gave great advice about what to do in that circumstance. But I don't want to criticize the recreational player because he got to pay his man on Monday. We've all been there. I was there, though I used to have to pay on Tuesday. Back to you, Ralph.
I was never there.
Yeah, your guy let you include the Monday night game so you could try to double up, right, Teddy?
Of course, dude. That's the way we set up when I was betting, and that's the way we set up when I was booking. Was all we get paid on Tuesdays. Got a double or nothing every Monday night. Everybody.
Ralph, Gianni, we kept Gianni on long because that was a very important topic. We only have about 5-6 minutes, so Teddy and I are just going to shut up and let you go.
If we don't get to the last segment, we'll get to it tomorrow. Thursday night, guys, here's the Thursday night system. Again, take it with a grain of salt because of the injuries Teddy just talked about. But on Thursday, if you have an away favorite or therefore a home dog on a Thursday night game and both teams are off a loss, look at the numbers. The total is 19 overs and 4 unders, 86.2% to the over. So, that's a number certainly to look at. And then a second angle of the day I want to bring in, these are actually 2 separate angles on the Steelers. When the Steelers are on the road, it's this simple, guys. When the Steelers are on the road and their opponent averages 35 passes per game, Pittsburgh is obviously on the road against Dallas. Dallas has 352 pass attempts in 8 games, so they're averaging 44 pass attempts a game, which is over the 35. The Steelers have gone under 23 straight games.
Wow.
I mean, that's a number you have to pay attention to. And just break it down in the simplest of terms. When the Steelers are an away favorite, they're 5 overs, 27 unders, and 2 pushes, 84% to the under. So I'm just saying this. If the Steelers are on the road, and especially as an away favorite, I am either betting the under or passing. I am never going to bet the Steelers over in that situation until Big Ben is gone and until there's a new head coach. So that's simple. It's very simple for me. Sometimes I like angles and I'll play on them. Sometimes they help me keep me off of play. This is one absolutely. It's so one-sided. It's Pittsburgh on the road. It's either under or pass. And situational play of the day, guys, I am going to give you a play that will be on my card, no question. Game number 401, biggest game of the night, Clemson, -5.5 against Notre Dame. Clemson 11-0 straight up on the road, average win by 32 points per game. Clemson Tigers have held 5 of 7 foes to a season low. That to me is so important. I'm not real concerned how many yards a team gives up, but if you held that team to a season low and we're now 6 or 7 games into the season, that is a meaningful stat. If they held Notre Dame to a season low, that would put Notre Dame in the 370-yard category. Clemson is 72 and straight up as a favorite. People say, why does that matter? I mean, Clemson's a 20-point favorite most weeks. So why does a record matter as a favorite? It does matter. When you have an underdog that learns how to win games as a dog, when you have a team that loses a lot of games as a favorite, I have less faith in those, even leaving a short number. Couple examples, UNLV is only 8-8 straight up as a favorite. Duke only 14-11. So I am going to be much less apt to play those type of teams, those poorer teams, when they don't know how to win games as a favorite, let alone cover. And then again, an angle we gave out a couple days ago, are you worried about Clemson having to have a big second half against Boston College and coming back? No. Road teams in college football that trailed by 14 or more have gone 40-22 against the spread since 2010, 64.5%. And Joe, we'll stop the commentary. If you can, just pop up the chart so people can see. And guys, if you want to look at this chart a little longer, it is posted at Cal Sports LV. Just go back and look at the timeline. Teddy, the healthiest teams this year, the LA Rams, the Miami Dolphins, have only played 55 players. The Jacksonville Jaguars, Denver Broncos, and New York Jets, 65. Philadelphia, 68. San Francisco, 71. Now look at the offensive and defensive breakdowns just for a second. San Francisco has used 33 players on defense. Tampa Bay has used 21. So you have 11 starters on defense. That means every player that Tampa Bay has played on defense was either a first or second string. San Francisco has played 33 players on defense. So their entire first string, basically their entire second string, and their entire third string. And if there was a bunch of injuries in a certain position, we might have seen fourth team players. So what a difference. Tampa Bay first and second string, San Francisco likely to have fourth string players playing in the same position. So a powerful tool. A lot of people don't look at it. They hear, oh, teams are banged up, they have injuries. This is just to be able to help you quantify where these are. And this is updated through this past Monday Night Football.
Ralph Michaels, outstanding stuff. And guys, you got to read all of his charts. And there's a lot more coming over the next little while. One of our listeners, Gordon Mathers, says, where's the Q&A that we used to do on Thursdays? It's coming back. So just be patient. We are going to be doing that segment again. Shout out to Dave Coken. Outstanding job. Took apart 3 college football games. Gianni, 3 NFL games. Ralph Michaels, like always, overshadowed us all. Teddy, you just absolutely rocked it out this whole show. I gave you a 7.8. Other than that, thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for liking. Teddy, take us home.
Enjoy the games and good luck. We'll be back again tomorrow right here on WagerTalk Today.
The WagerTalk and Sports Memo November Thank You Special is a deal you guys cannot pass up. Get every college football and NFL play in the month of November for just $1.99. That includes 5 NFL Sundays and 4 college football Saturdays. Sign up now and you get the rest of October for free. That means 5 full weekends of football for under $40 per weekend, 5 weekends for less than the price of a 5% play per week. Just go to your favorite WagerTalk or Sports Memo Cappers homepage to lock in this offer before the games kick off this weekend.